One issue that worries a lot of Semenanjung people is the idea of having 35% of seats given to Sabah and Sarawak. What's your stand on this proposal? I think it was done by the Dr. Maximus Committee. Where do you see this as the head of the
that will be one of the negotiation. If we go back into the history of formation of Malaysia, we have what we call the state of Malaya at that time, then Singapore, North Borneo, which is Sabah and Sarawak. And the composition of seats at that particular time, about 35% comprises Singapore, Sabah and Sarawak. Why? Because during that formation, Sabah and Sarawak believe by having 35%, and when Singapore is no longer part of Malaysia, that particular seat should be distributed among Sabah and Sarawak. Because under the Constitution, there's some protection as far as this Constitution is concerned. The right of Sabah, the right of Sarawak is protected under Constitution. And it can only be amended by majority decision of members of Parliament, which is 2/3. But right now, if seats in Semenanjung are more than 2/3, they can go and vote, and they can remove all the rights of Sabah and Sarawak. So there's no protection for Sabah and Sarawak as far as the right in Constitution is concerned. So that's the spirit. So rightfully, when we form, we must have that protection. So that's why, as far as Sabah and Sarawak, they are looking into 35% at least, so that no single zone or region can defeat the spirit of formation of Malaysia through votes in the Parliament.
So, what would you say to some Semenanjung people who say that it's not fair that 1/6 of the population of Malaysia get 1/3 of the seats?
You have to go back to history. If you say it's not fair, then how come Sarawak and Sabah contributed so much in terms of economic and then giving to Semenanjung? You have everything in Semenanjung. You have highway, you have bridges, you have all the facilities are almost there in Semenanjung. But Sabah and Sarawak are left behind when in fact, economic-wise, we contributed so much. You have 2 twin towers. They say the 2 twin towers should be in Sarawak. Because, if you're talking about fairness, it's not about fairness. It's about the spirit formation of Malaysia. So there are also sacrifices of Sabah and Sarawak in terms of forming Malaysia, in terms of contribution. That's about all the federal, this one. It's not about fairness, but it's about the living the spirit of what was enshrined when we formed Malaysia.
At the time when Malaysia was formed, according to the IGC 1962 report, the suggestion at the time was 45 out of 169, which is roughly about 25%. So some people are arguing that once Singapore leave, the report is silent about roughly about 12%. So what do you say to those type of critics regarding 35%?
Yeah, you're talking about if you have Singapore there and so on, it's about 35%, slightly more than 35% actually. But we want is, as long as there's no 2/3 majority in Semenanjung, so that we make sure that we can protect our rights, whatever is provided for in the Constitution.
And now we have a Prime Minister whose coalition, Pakatan Harapan, promised in their manifesto we will give you 35%. I'm not sure if the other coalitions promised this. So, is it
no, as far
very likely that we will see this time round?
End of the day, I think we need to look into, number one, interest of the nation. At the same time, we also must remember the spirit when we form Malaysia. So that's Sarawak and Sabah, I think, reasonable people. We're not asking more than that. As long as there's a protection that our rights in the Constitution are protected. So one of the protection is at least we must have, if not 35, it has to be more than 25%. All right?
Guys,
It has to be one-third, more than one-third.